sorry. So as I was saying, this is the third report of a series of 5 reports that the European Crafts Alliance is doing in the framework of the Crafting the Future project funded by the Creative Europe strand for networks. And we just are doing these studies because we want to really know what the craft sector is at this moment, what the challenges are, what the opportunities are, and we want to have a real picture on the craft sector. You know that there are no official statistics about the craft sector. It's very difficult to have information on how many craft makers there are, or how many craft businesses, in what fields, where they sell. So we have decided to undertake these studies to get to know more the craft sector in general in Europe, so that we really can then afterwards, us and all our members of our network can do and target their activities, their strategies, following this data that we are gathering through these studies. So I don't want to take more time in this. I just want to present you Rosa Muñoz. She is from the company called Ohayō, and she, together with her team, did the research that we are presenting today. So please, Rosa, if you want to go ahead and start the presentation.
Good morning, everyone. Actually, it's an honor to be here talking about the project that has been so important for our company, Ohayō, during 2024 and part of 2023. I'm also very happy too, because I'm seeing among the attendees some of the craftspeople, artists, and craft-related professionals that have contributed with their time and also with their experiences to the study. In today's session, I won't come into details regarding each of the opportunities that are included in the report, but I will focus on, there is someone who has the microphone on, so if you can just turn it off, because I'm hearing myself. Okay. Can you just mute the microphone? I don't know who. Oh, okay, now. So as I was saying, in today's session, I'm not going to come into details regarding each of these opportunities that are included in the report, but I will focus more on guiding you on how to use it, how to use this document, how to navigate, and so you can apply the insights in your practice, businesses, or in your sector if you are a public authority supporting the craft sector. So, oh, by the way, I'm going to share with you, I just forgot to share the presentation, just a second. Here you can see the cover that you will see later on in the after the session. So I was saying that this report is going to offer an extensive overview of opportunities that are classified by areas and concepts, and they are supported on the opinion of a wide range of professionals of the sector, and also the analysis developed on existing cases of craftspeople and businesses who have pioneered new ways of working in crafts. So we have tried from the very first beginning of this process to make a contribution to improve the dynamics of craft businesses and craft sector through new ways of looking at the market and also at society as sources of inspiration and prosperity. When we were starting to set the survey goals and designing the research methodology, we realized that high quality information for decision making was very often or quite often only available for medium large companies with the means and the money to spend in business intelligence. But thanks to this project and also to the collective effort of the European Crafts Alliance, we realized that now it was possible to generate these valuable insights for the entire European craft sector. And that, of course, includes craftspeople and craft businesses, but not only. It's also useful for policymakers and also crafts managers or public authorities who have the role of supporting and helping this craft sector. So bearing that in mind, we focus on this key objective, which was to provide insight into business opportunities in the craft sector and to develop a guide on how to use it and how to take advantage of those opportunities in the European economic context. And how we did it? Well, at Ohayō, we usually guide and support organizations through processes of evolution and change, and we help retune conceptually but also culturally to understand this new context. And we try to equip organizations to be future-proof. So for this survey, we used a wide range of methodologies and sources, such as in-depth personal interviews, also some workshops specifically on consumer trend canvas and metadata-driven creativity methodologies. We did study cases, we employed trends research methodologies, we did a careful literature review, and also we adopted a blue ocean strategy approach, trying to detect business opportunities and identify uncontested or untapped market space. So during this whole process, in this process, we were lucky enough to count on the collaboration of many crafts professionals who contributed with their time and also shared their view to make possible what we have in our hands today. Actually, without their contribution, it wouldn't have been possible to come to these results. And you will see in the report that their voices have been incorporated and they have been very valuable for shaping the set of learnings and opportunities described in the survey. What you will find and how can you use this tool? Well, the result is an extensive report that has included valuable information for highlighting the possibilities of the craft sector as an economic engine, but also as a means to improve some other industries such as tourism, leisure, retail, fashion, luxury, or even to enhance public services. Also, it's useful for showing new approaches, and we get this in particular through the lighthouse cases that are included in Chapter 6. The information is also useful for organizing different growth strategies and business development opportunities, and it also contains a section at the end of this document to serve as a tool for self-diagnose and also a guide for using and applying any of the opportunities included to each of your businesses or your sectors if you are a public body or a support body for the craft sector. So you will find that these strategic contents have been organized into 8 chapters, and the first of them is focused on market trends and emerging consumer needs that are actionable by European craft businesses. The second chapter is focusing in innovation opportunities in business areas such as branding, pricing, servicing, or communication. The third chapter is specialized in innovation opportunities based in new market segments, and we will see there that we have focused our efforts in identifying segments or new markets where the collaboration among craftspeople or craft businesses with these other activities can be very profitable for both parts. In Chapter 4, we have dedicated a specific effort to unveil solutions or ways of keeping relevant traditional crafts in our today's world. In chapter 5, we are focusing these opportunities in new materials and technologies, and then you will see that in chapter 6, we have very inspiring cases. We have named them lighthouse cases, where you will see some businesses that have been doing their practice in a very singular or particular way, and we can have some key takeaways or learnings from them, and also there are opportunities coming out from the study of these lighthouse cases. And then you will find the conclusions and recommendations that I will share later on, and this guide called the Toolkit for Growth. So depending on your profile and also where are you working, well, the usage of the survey can be different, but we have some like guidance for you depending also on your profile. For example, if just a second. Okay, before we go to the profile part, I was trying to show you, but I think it skipped one of the pages. Just a second. Yeah. I wanted to show you some of the inner pages of the report. We have made a huge effort also in summarizing and making visual these opportunities, so you can have a look at them, all organized and distributed depending on the topic. For example, in this page, you will see the opportunities that have been identified, taking into account a set of mega trends. In the next page, I will see if it works. It should work. Okay, there you see the diagram that you will find in the report of opportunities based in business areas such as branding, marketing, servicing, business management, communication, or internationalization. Or, for example, those that I was mentioning that were opportunities based on new market segments and collaboration with those other industries or practices. And here you have some other inner pages of the report. And here you can see the diagram that we prepare for the ideas and the opportunities based on new materials and new technologies. All of these ideas and opportunities have been explained in the survey, in the research, and they also count on some cases of reference for you to see how some other companies or some other people have implemented those opportunities already. So you will find that in the survey. So how can you use it if you are a craftsperson or a craft business? Well, we would recommend you to read the study thoroughly and get familiar yourself with the opportunities listed in the report, and then also have or take your time to do a self-diagnose of your goals, your skills, and also your situation. You have some, you will find a checklist of questions and items to consider to do this self-diagnose in the Toolkit for Growth. Then it's time to evaluate how attractive are your selected opportunities and establish some indicators to evaluate each of them. Develop a plan to implement the opportunity, and then go for it and implement your plan. For preparing your plan, there is also some support items and questions in the Toolkit for Growth that we have included in the report that you will have at the end of the session. And what about if you are, yes, I think, okay, because I think I skipped one page. Okay. What about if you are a policymaker? Well, in that case, we would recommend you also to read the study carefully, but then select the areas that you find more relevant or more linked to your region, to your sector, or your country, or those that you consider that are more feasible in your situation, in your case. And then examine your roadmap or strategy for the next years and align your priorities and the opportunities identified in the report. You can find also inspiration in the reference cases described and draw your own conclusions and tentative applications to your case. These reference cases are very useful when you have to defend or present a proposal or try to convince someone to follow a line of action, because it's a way of visualizing what is possible to do and how some other people have already done something similar to what you are proposing. Then it would be the moment to think of particular projects that allow your sector to advance or to improve their current competitiveness and create a higher added value and economy in your region, and aligning the objectives of each project with those that you have in your roadmap, and then find the right partners and start implementing these specific actions. And also, obviously, don't forget to measure, to assess the impact of your policies. And if you are a crafts-related professional, we would recommend you to select the areas that you identify that may be of interest to your clients or associates, and also consider the strengths and the specific or the particular sensitivities of your team and community of clients in relation to those areas of interest that you have previously selected. Then you can find support and inspiration in the reference cases, as I was saying before, because showing them may help you to create this good mood for action. You can also revise the toolkit for growth to make the self-diagnose. We have selected and developed different questions and items to revise for each of the different types of opportunities. Prepare a plan for implementing your target projects and then go for them. So what's next? Well, the next step could be guided by the conclusions and recommendations mentioned in the report. These conclusions and recommendations summarize the content, but also the feelings and the knowledge of the people involved in the research. And they are very helpful to guide the development of a roadmap or a plan for the coming years. One of the conclusions is that business opportunities lie in product development, but not only. They also lie in a combination of some other elements, such as adapting to market trends and consumer needs, rethinking traditional craft practices and finding ways to keep them relevant in today's society, or the determination to innovate in areas such as communication, retailing, management, servicing of the craft products and services. Also, it was concluded that consumer-centered approach improves the performance of craft businesses. And here, adapting to the motivations of new craft consumer doesn't mean abandoning your essence. Rather, it means making a conscious effort to connect with these new profiles of consumers. Also, that craft as a sector has the potential to become an important and relevant socioeconomic activity. And this is mainly thanks to its resiliency, its adaptability, also its ability to incorporate technology in many cases, and its power to build strong communities, and also the high degree of sustainability of many of its practices. And following the impressions of the participants of the workshop held and the professionals who were interviewed, storytelling and communication are key to the best presentation of a craft business. To be successful in this task, it is key to find the right partners or consultants who are sensitive to the particularities of the craft sector. Many of the participants in the workshops and also in the interviews stated that when working with some agencies or some business partners for this field, for this issue on branding or storytelling, they had the experience that the result was too generic, because the company or the agency was not able to find the singularities or they didn't have the sensitivity to work with the sector or to understand the particularities of the sector. So that's why I'm mentioning that in this issue, it's important to find the right partner with the right sensitivity. Also, business management is a must in order to maintain a profitable and economically sustainable activity. Furthermore, the authenticity of crafts is an asset to be exploited in communication. And for example, behind the scenes images help to engage. When you show the real thing, is easier or is helpful to explain the price and the value of the craft piece. Also, collaboration with other sectors is helpful in demonstrating. Let me check, it's not advancing. Oh, sorry, it was. Yeah, collaboration with other sectors is helpful in demonstrating the possibilities of craftsmanship brought to new or different fields. With public administration or public space managers, with tourism companies or tourism authorities, with architecture studios, performing arts, visual artists, or even the health sector. Regarding all these possible fields to collaborate with, you will find many cases, real cases in the survey, in the report that you will have at the end of the session. And actually, one of the lighthouse cases that is in chapter 6, the architecture studio Officina Magisafi, an Italian architecture studio, shows how it is possible to weave a net of craftspeople around the idea of architectural projects in a particular region. And finally, as a conclusion, also traditional craftsmanship has a relevant place in today's consumer society. And that means that, for example, context, working in context, function, material, and communication could be main lines to resignify and also revise traditional crafts. The work of the contemporary craftsman and fashion designer Giuseppe Sabocca, included in the chapter of the lighthouse cases, is just one example of this that I'm saying here. Regarding the recommendations, they were formulated in 8 points. And I'm just skipping again. I don't know what's happening today with my keyboard. Okay. And the first recommendation is about the redefinition of the meaning of craft and the terms that we use or the terms associated with it. And these terms need to be reviewed. Why we are proposing this as a recommendation? Well, because the traditional terms used to define craft don't fully cover the new realities of the sector, and this has serious implications for legislation, support, and funding of the sector. Also, the second recommendation is about developing, together with educational institutions, courses or specialization programs that focus on craft business management. And that means finance, human resources, intellectual property, marketing, audience development, storytelling, business strategy, pricing, or negotiation. These could be some of the areas included in the curriculum of craft education programs at all levels. Also, the possibility or exploring, the third recommendation is, in order to expand the business, craft specialized sales professionals are needed. And here we could explore the possibility of identifying and training this type of professional to help craftspeople to market their products. And probably the ideal profile of a salesperson for the craft business could be someone trained or experienced not only in sales, but also with knowledge of art, history, design, craftsmanship, and materials. It would be also recommended to explore the feasibility of designing and developing a search engine where the companies from other sectors can find craftspeople willing to work with them. Where curated craftspeople could list their skills and their interests, and companies from other sectors could list their needs or look for craftspeople to collaborate with in a sort of marketplace for projects. Encouraging cross-sectoral meetings to address horizontal issues could also help could lead to unexpected and very profitable collaborations. And that would involve creating forums for discussion between craftspeople, but also architects, designers, with performing arts, education, tourism or leisure industries, luxury, retail, or even health-related industries that could serve as a breeding ground for a whole new type of economy. We are also recommending using the knowledge that we have produced during the study and the survey, the possibility of developing a mentoring program based on entrepreneurship from senior craftspeople to newcomers to help these emerging businesses to avoid mistake and build their economies more securely or more safely. And also we think that meetings of representative craft organizations with major heritage cities and national tourism authorities are needed, and they are urgent. The value of crafts for tourism needs to be on the table of regions and cities with strong tourism economies. And cities can find arguments to attract visitors, but also residents, if they define or they structure their craft network properly. Finally, our final recommendation, maybe it's one of those that we consider more strategic, is about the opportunity to explore the application of blockchain technology to the traceability and the authenticity of traditional crafts. Once the regulation of the protection of geographical indications for craft and industrial products enters into force, the geographical indications linked to these geographical areas of production will enjoy the same protection as regionally produced food or drink. This is something we are used to, but now this same protection is going to be implemented in our craft and industrial products with some singularities. And enforcing this protection in practice won't be easy, it's not being easy, and will require a huge effort on the part of the corresponding countries and regions to define the rules for each geographical indication. And here, blockchain could be adopted by craftspeople, by craft companies, but also as well by geographical indications to guarantee the authenticity of their product through an unviolable system that provides detailed information about the object. I would like to finish with the sentence that the French glass artist and craftsman Vincent Brett said in one of the workshops held for this research. He said that craft is a way to bring more poetry into our lives. And so I sincerely hope that the work that we have done and is being presented here today contributes to help craft keeps on bringing poetry to our lives. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rosa, for the presentation of this study, and thank you very much to you and your team for this huge piece of work that I think is very inspiring for all of us, craft workers, craftspeople, policymakers. I think everyone is targeted in this study, which is amazing. There are so many ideas in there, and I want also to thank especially all the participants who contributed to the study with their time, with their input with surveys and with these exchanges that you did, because I think this is a real big value that we have here. And I really invite you to read the study. It's very appealing. It's very easy to read, and you will get a lot of ideas. Also, it's very nice with all these pictures of these great craftspeople that we have in Europe, all these wonderful pieces that Rosa and her team have selected, and makes the reading very, very, very easy, I think. So now we would like to hear from you. If you have any questions, you can ask them on the chat, or we can also give you access. You can turn off your camera and your micro and ask them directly. So we have a more normal conversation, but we can also read the ones in the chat. So let me check. There is Rosa Soriano. Do you want to go live, or do you want me to read the question?
Oh, you mean me?
No, Rosa Soriano, you are Danae. So, okay, I'm going to read it. So Rosa from the Department of Sociology at the University of Granada. She's asking about Project PI and after the mass consumption of clothing, circular economy in the fashion industry, fashion through citizen science. No, she just put here a project, is that it? Well, I don't understand this question. So, Rolf, I see you on the screen as well. Do you want to ask your question, or should I read it?
Yes, I'm happy to read it. I'm happy to ask the question. I
Okay,
just saw
thank
that
you.
Rosa Soriano said I don't have any questions. I just wanted to introduce myself and congratulate you on your work. So that's from Rosa. So thank you very much, Rosa, the other Rosa. Thank you very much for this really interesting report. And it's very interesting for me because just to introduce myself, I'm at the European Institute of Technology, Culture and Creativity, and one of my activities this year is to develop a European Craft Academy, which is why I'm here. So your report and your findings and so on is completely aligned to what I've been looking into in European craft, and I've found it very inspiring and very useful that you've put in that work. So thank you so much for that. Also very nice to see a former student, Matilda Castell, included there from Consvac when I was working there. So my question is really in two parts. One is thinking about, I know from colleagues and friends that, people are often alienated by the word entrepreneur or entrepreneurship. So if we substitute the idea of freelancer, that many, craft practitioners trained at places like Consvac develop high skills in their practice, but go out and fend for themselves without any training in how to run their own company. Effectively, they're entrepreneurs. And so if we can co-opt that word for the freelancing artist, designer, and craftsperson, to rid it of its associations and make it very practical for everyday, functioning artists and craftspeople and so on. What skills has the report identified particular needs and skills that should be targeted? Because that's also something that culture and creativity could, offer a call towards to sort of fulfill those needs. And then the second part of the question was, we don't really have to take, but it's sort of reversing the logic of recommendation 4, which was not only that how do people find craftspeople, but also how might craftspeople pioneer interdisciplinary alliances and collaborations by reaching out to people in areas that would not conventionally be considered crafts, whether it's chemistry or, somebody I work with, biological architecture and so on, and create alliances that way through being able to find them. And so I'm just sketching the idea for a sort of interdisciplinary hub there, but just to put it on the table to reverse the logic of recommendation 4. So it's not just companies coming to craftspeople, but craftspeople proactively reaching out to other practitioners. Thank you.
Rosa, if you want to go ahead. You're unmuted, yeah.
Okay, now someone had to reactivate my microphone, sorry. And I said that to all of you, but we are in a nice meeting, so that's okay. So trying to answering to Rolf questions during the research, the participants and also from our experience, I think the main issue or the main worry that they were sharing about this type of skills to manage to manage a craft business. All of them were saying to find the right balance between making and managing. That means to organize their time between the craft practice and also the time that they need to devote or use for planning, for finding their clients, for managing their resources. So that was something that many of them were stating that it was key. So there is this type of this awareness on the importance of not only making but also employing part of their time, even if it's not what they like most, to use also part of their time to plan. And in that regard, also in some other comments and in some other some other inputs received from the interviewees and also the participants of the workshop was the idea of working with their identity. That means to develop a good and powerful storytelling and also a powerful brand. That's something that they also said very often. And about finding the resources for the business to plan their economy and have some tools or help to use their limited resources for traveling, for finding new clients, for financing their projects until they get the money of that project. So I don't know if that answers to your question. There were some solutions or some proposals during the sessions that we had, and it came up the idea of sharing some of these some of the costs derived of having professionalized some of these issues. And it was mentioned that if they could count on an organization or maybe just on a structure organized by several of them to cover some of these services, that would be very helpful for them to focus or to have more time to run their businesses. And that applies to like one person workshops to some medium or small medium craft businesses.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rosa and Rolf. Danai, you were asking as well how the researchers, the participants in the research were selected. Rosa, can you just give us a detail about this?
Yeah, well, there were several ways of doing it. For example, for the lighthouse cases, we did a previous research on cases of, let's say, craftspeople or crafts companies that were pretty singular or particular with their practice, and they were doing things in a very different way, or they have even developed their own craft with a completely different practice. Like, for example, Carina Sol, who is a Swedish craftsperson that stamps, or she stamps real real plants in leather. We couldn't find anyone else doing that, so we were very curious to know how she had developed her practice and how she managed to communicate this new practice that didn't exist before. So working with this type of profiles, we selected the lighthouse cases, and also we did a search in the target European countries that we had for the research that was limited to 6 of them, and we just contacted with many crafts people and crafts businesses and also crafts professionals. Not all of them answered, and from those that answered, we selected those that we believe that were representing different practices in different regions, and also covering different sizes and also different profiles of businesses. I don't know if that answers the question. It wasn't easy to find people willing to collaborate, but yeah, finally we could make it.
Thank you, Rosa. And thank you again to all that collaborated, because we really appreciate it. We know that it takes time, and but it's the only way that we really have how do you say real information on what is happening out there, and we need that information to be able to help. And I think that all the recommendations and conclusions of the study, I think everyone can apply it, and we as organization as well. So for us, it's very useful. I'm going to ask you another question here in the chat from Marion from the Crafts Council Netherlands. She said, thank you. And she's curious to know more about your recommendation of a redefinition of the meaning of craft. Can you answer to that?
Well, actually, I'm going to give some hints, but I'm not going to give the definition. That's actually something that we have been working for months, and we still are working on this, because we still have everybody tell us that it's impossible to come to an agreement as a company. I mean, to have an agreement among the different countries, different regions, and and different actors of the sector. But we believe it's not. I mean, it's possible, and there are many things that need to be considered in this maybe new definition of craft. Something that and maybe I'm just raising a difficult topic or something controversial, is that craft cannot be linked to handmade things anymore, and that's something that we should get over that. And that doesn't mean that because someone used certain contemporary technologies to do their practices is not a craftsperson. And there are institutions and also like reference bodies right now who in their rules or in their definition of crafts are specifically saying that their way of defining crafts or craftsperson is someone who is mastering a certain skill that is developed mainly with their hands. So that's not our position in this. And so I think we would need maybe 2 or 3 hours to talk about it and to discuss about it, but that's mainly one of the main issues to bear in mind. And also something important is once we start working with the definition, if we are able to do it, all of us, we should also be considering the other fields that are getting very close and intertwining with crafts, like contemporary art, design, the maker's culture. So it's not only about defining crafts, but also knowing how we are relating with those other fields. Like, for example, I think that craft is getting or drinking quite a lot from the 20th century contemporary art practices. And that's why now we see some crafted objects that are very close to art, but we are not sure if it's art or not. And it would be art, I think, but well, that's another discussion. So it's a controversial issue.
Thank you so much, Rosa. I wanted to ask you a practical thing. while people are thinking about more questions and write them on the chat. When a craftsperson reads the conclusions and recommendations, they can feel that there are many things to do still, like, okay, and they might seem overwhelmed with all the tasks and things that they need to do to become more professional or to improve their businesses. What would be your recommendation in that field? Be like, I don't know, like put 4 hours Monday morning in your calendar, block it to do these kind of things. I don't know. How would you recommend them to start doing the steps to implement what you delivered in the report?
Well, the way it is designed in the report, if it's for a craftsperson, it's very intuitive and also is quite guided. But I think you need the time to think without any other interruptions, and also try to think relaxed on your possibilities and not get any kind of don't let yourself bother for the daily from the daily obligations. Probably it would be nice to have 1 day a week at a time when you know that you cannot be interrupted, and use a couple of hours or 3 hours to think of it and get rid of the other obligations that you have, and start just reading this document or using any other material with an open mind and open to any possibility or any idea that you may come up with. And then if you think that you can do it and it's aligned with your objectives, try to go little by little, step by step, a little bit forward, and see if you have some support or help from any contact that you have or any other partner that it may be helpful to implement your plan or to implement your innovation.
Thank you, Rosa. What about the craft people that we have in the audience today? Does anyone want to share their views on that and how they are tackling this business area of their practice? It would be nice to hear your voice at least. To have a real example. Elisa, do you want to? Yes, great.
You can hear me. I'm
Yes,
in a library.
perfectly.
Good. I'm extremely grateful that I stumbled on this lecture today from the study. I joined because I saw it in your monthly newsletter, and I'm so glad that this study has been done, and I think the recommendations are so contemporary and real and really reflecting of the struggles that what it means to be in a craft sector. I'm from Latvia. I'm living in Latvia. I'm a hand embroiderer, and I tried doing full-time embroidery in many different ways, from commissions, traditional work, as well as custom commissions, and also doing classes. And that's insane mix of different ways of trying to like stay in your craft, staying afloat financially, and everything, but still having this mission. So I'm very excited to like see the final document. I'm really glad that you've made it in a very readable, user-friendly format, not just purely academic. So I'm very excited, very grateful that this is, and the redefining of craft, I think, is great. I think we need some at the same time, we need to redefine maybe what a craftsperson is and what the reality is, because I think we all know that you are not, it's multiple identities in one. You are an entrepreneur, you are a designer, you are an artist and a craftsperson, and maybe there's even more. So I think this is the perfect platform for this to be happening. So I'm just very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your words, Elisa. I know that Rosa, she's smiling. She's very happy about this. Yeah, just a reminder that we will be sharing the link to the documents after, well, in the chat. My colleagues will put it there. It will be also in our website. The the report, the study, as well as the toolkit. So we really recommend you to use it. And of course, after this presentation and when you read the report, you can always come back to us and share your thoughts as well. And for all the policymakers and craft organizations that are also out there, I think that we should be working together to see how we can implement some of these recommendations and conclusions. I think this is our work to do as well. So anyone else wants to contribute, wants to ask some more questions? Because we have questions for you, but I don't know if you want to respond.
Well, the full report and the summer report have been just shared, so I guess everyone is just trying to download it. So
Yeah, probably. Okay. So yeah, Cristina, you raised your hand. Cristina Mendes from Portugal. Are you
Sorry.
there? Yes, we
Can
can
you
hear
hear
you.
Yes, I'm without camera, and I'm so sorry for that. So I did want to make a question because it's unpleasant to be talking without camera. But sorry, just to say to Rosa that it was very satisfying to see that in the conclusions and recommendations, many of the concerns that and paths that we that are in crafts have already reached based on our experience, and to see them confirmed in the study, it was very reassuring that some of the things that we are already doing, we had reached the right conclusion, but we didn't have any study confirming that this was really the solution or the way to go in some of the problems of crafts. I would like to underline the question about the artisan as an entrepreneur. For us as vocational training, I didn't present myself. I'm Cristina Mendes. I'm the deputy director of CEART, that is a vocational training center for crafts and heritage, and I'm also very recently the president of European Crafts Alliance. But it's as CEART that I'm talking about this. Craft management training, it is something that we have been doing for a long time. This is very important. So Laura, Rosa, thank you for confirming some of our concerns, confirming that just based in experience, we were doing some things right. And thank you for the new solutions and the new ideas, and that is very important, but because it brings new ways and new paths. Thank you. It was not a question, it was more a statement of satisfaction with the results and the recommendations and the conclusions. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Cristina. I see that we are reaching towards the end of the hour, and we want to keep it short and on time, everything. So I just want you to let you know about our next events that you might be interested in. So first thing is that we have, again, the European Celebration of Crafts. The European Artistic Craft Days are taking place all over Europe from the 21st of March till the 6th of April. You will find a lot of activities in different countries, and we invite you to enjoy and to participate on all of those. If you want to know a little bit more about the craft sector and the digital technologies and their their impact, we will be presenting another study that we have done, thanks to Rosa again, and it's called Understanding the New Technological Context for Craftsmanship, and it will be taking place on the 2nd of April at the same time as today, so at 11, and we invite you to join. And another event that we are going to be holding very soon is in the context of the New European Bauhaus, in the series of webinars that we have been holding in the past 2.5 years. We will have our last one for this time on social inclusion, and this will be happening on the 8th of April, also at 11. So I hope you enjoyed the presentation today, and I hope that I see you, or we see you again in the next events that I have just mentioned. And I think that's it from us today. So thank you again for being part of this. Take care. Ciao, ciao.